Well, good evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So tonight, we're going to start at 8 o'clock. We're going to be doing a live stream following the New York Stinking Giants versus the Washington football team and the battle of the maggot meatball sub versus the shitstorm that is the overhang at FedEx Field. This is actually a battle for survival. You don't really want to start the season 0-2. The Washington football team, I think they have the advantage playing at home. They're used to the shitstorm already. And Daniel Jones, he's just a turnover machine. I think the Washington defense gets back on track. They make him pay and makes Daniel Jones look like, Danny, no, Danny, no, Danny, no, Danny, no, Danny, dollar store. Yeah. So the news, of course, it was raining like a mother humper in Landover, site of FedEx Field, as well as all the Washington, D.C. area. There is actually flash flood warnings, severe thunderstorms warnings, but it looks like most of the storm is kind of winding up. The rain has slowed down here to the point where I believe that they can play. There hasn't been too much lightning because that'll be key on whether or not they can play the game. If it is not lightning strikes and it's just rain, well, they'll get wet. So look for it to be a sloppy field. In news on our Dallas Cowboys, sadly, DeMarcus Lawrence has been put on injured reserve, and the hope is that he'll be back 6 to 8 weeks, but it could be longer on that. What we've gotten a little bit of news on exactly what was done. He's had surgery a few hours ago that was successful. Now, this was a one-on-one passing drill, and somehow his foot got hit. Now, me personally, when I was in Boy Scouts back in, a long time ago, I was probably about 13 years old, and we were playing Frisbee at Bull Run Park, Bull Run, the battlefield and stuff, before we were going to hike the two trails at the battlefield. And we were playing Frisbee, and I went running to grab the Frisbee, and I hit the side of my foot. Okay, the fifth metatarsal. Okay, I probably mispronounced it, but it's called the fifth metatarsal. I don't want to put my feet up here because you'll look at it and be like, oh, that's an ugly foot. Because literally, I have Fred Flintstone feet. In fact, my wife calls me Fred Flintstone, and I say, yabba dabba doo, baby. In fact, I kind of get that Fred Flintstone kind of boxy face there, too. But anyway, I digress. If this was your foot, this is your big toe on down to your pinky toe. The fifth metatarsal is this very bone outside. What happened for me was I actually cracked it when I hit my foot on the curb. It cracked. No big deal. The crack was not a big issue because it was just, they put me in a cast for 3 weeks. It smelled real bad when they took it off. Everybody signed the cast because back then it was actually plaster cast, not the stuff they have now. But it was fine in 3 weeks. However, the fact that they had to do surgery means that they had to either put a plate or a screw in it because it probably was dislocated or was broken to the point where it needed to be set. Now, this is not like a soft tissue injury where, you know, the ACL or your Achilles tendon and things, that has to actually heal up where it's got to be flexible and you lose the range of motion. Unfortunately, this will be in a cast that will immobilize it, which means there will be atrophy. Atrophy, you're wondering? If you've never had like a broken bone or something, atrophy. Atrophy is basically the muscles losing their strength. And that can set in as quick as 3 days without activity. So if we're talking about him probably being in a cast for 3-4 weeks, then he's going to lose a lot of that muscle strength because he's not going to be able to move the foot. So it's also the recovery time after the bone heals. This is not a career ender. This is not, a worst case scenario. This is a broken bone, but it will take time to heal. Not what you want to hear when you're the Dallas Cowboys, because literally we are very, very thin at linebacker. Now, also too, Domantre Kazee, okay? Domantre Kazee. I always want to sneeze when I say Kazee. Was also a little bit limited in practice as well today too. So that's another concern, another hit on the defense. But I'm not ready to abandon ship. The line is at 3.5 points versus San Diego this weekend. Of course, everybody's already said we got no chance in hell. But here's the thing. If I look at San Diego and I look at Justin Herbert is a really good quarterback. Their offense has a lot of great weapons. But if we're talking about weapons, I look at this and I think of the Dallas Cowboys could be the most powerful offense in football. I know we don't have La'el Collins. We got Terrence Steele in there. But I'm not as concerned as I would be if it was Tyron Smith that was gone, and so on. Or if we had Tyron Smith and La'el Collins like we did all of last year, except for, well, no, all of last year we had at least one of them out. And for 14 games, we had both of them out. The good thing, at least, that as I look at this with the Cowboys is, I think they're maybe actually right. A lot of people say, kick Zach Martin back out to tackle. Well, he'll do good at tackle, but not as good as he would at guard. And then what you're looking at, by keeping him back to his natural position at guard, you have at least cohesion across the line. We don't know how much he has actually lost having COVID. He may end up still having some lingering effects from it. He had his shot, maybe they were minor, and it's just like the flu and the cold. However, you don't know. He has not played the last week in practice. So taking him and putting him in a position that he really does not want to play. And let's be clear, you can make more money as a tackle than a guard. However, he doesn't want to be a tackle. He likes being that guard. And being an all-pro at guard, I'm kind of like, keep him at guard. And after hurting himself, being injured and missing part of the season, playing tackle, I don't know that he wants his first game back to be a tackle again. So they're going to keep him at guard, his natural position, and that at least is the lineup you want to have, with the exception of La'el Collins. Terrence Steele goes into the spot, and we should be good to go. Now, here's the interesting thing. Here's so much is really interesting to me. From the time yesterday, that DeMarcus Lawrence got hurt, I kept saying, listen, don't rush out, grab somebody. I know that the players we have on the defensive ends position are unexperienced. We got 10 sacks between all the guys that are left. I know you don't have Randy Gregory, but I said what I would do would be use more of a 3-4 defense and use Micah Parsons as that outside linebacker. I've said this in several videos over and over and over again. Most people say, you're just an idiot. Well, funny thing is Jane Slater, I was in my workshop, Jane Slater came on and talked to DeMarcus Ware. And DeMarcus Ware said exactly the same thing that I said. I said it 24 hours before. So at least I think I'm on the right track. And Micah Parsons was practicing with the defensive line. Don't believe me? Go back and look at some of those videos yesterday. And check out this one from Jane Slater. And in about 2 hours, check out the Jobu Sports live stream, because we'll be watching the Washington football team versus the New York stinking Giants. And I mean, they stink. Battling it out in the elements. See you then.
This off seasons, and here's what he told me. He said, I would use him the way they used me. In other words, a hybrid 3-4 defense. You're not asking him to necessarily get to the quarterback. You're asking him to be a disruptor, and you're using him in passing plays. As he describes it, he says, look, this is a guy that's a good run stopper at his position. But I would use him in this way so that it favors more one-on-one matchups for him. And so that is certainly a situation that you could consider. Yes, it's putting a lot on his plate. And even he said, look, Micah Parsons knows he got exposed a little bit against Tom Brady, but he does seem like a smart guy who wants to get better. He's likely popped in the tape. You saw him in Hard Knocks tell Dan Quinn he wants more. The Cowboys might have to give him more in the absence of these two guys this week, and then with DeMarcus Lawrence moving forward.
Yeah, our lead draft analyst in the run-up to the draft, Micah Parsons has 10 sack potential as a rusher in this league. So that's we see from that.
They went to DeMarcus Ware to get that, right? All you had to do was come to the Jobu Sports Report to get that. I said that yesterday. Exactly that. Wow. Okay. Me, DeMarcus Ware, great minds think alike. Mike's like, yeah, whatever. But I did say that yesterday. I did.